What if I told you this dusty little Super Nintendo cartridge from 1995 is now worth more than some people's car payments? Yes, Chrono Trigger. A game that originally cost about $80 is now casually selling for hundreds, and sometimes even thousands of dollars. And no, it's not some crypto scam or retro influencer hype coin. This is a real cartridge with real collectors spending real money, like me. So today, we're breaking down why Chrono Trigger is so expensive now. And spoiler alert, one of the biggest reasons is rarity. Let's time travel into your wallet. If you play Chrono Trigger, you'll get that reference about time travel. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into it. Let's start with the main culprit. Chrono Trigger sold about 2.65 million copies worldwide. And yes, that does sound impressive until you compare it with other classic games. Here's the really crazy part though. Only about 290,000 copies were sold in North America. That's it. For comparison, Super Mario on the NES sold over 40 million copies worldwide and about 29 million copies in North America alone. So Mario sold 100 times more copies in the US than Chrono Trigger. And that means fewer Chrono Trigger cartridges exist, which also means fewer survived, fewer stayed in good condition, actually playable, and way fewer kept the box and manual, which makes Chrono Trigger basically the limited edition trading card of the SNES RPGs. Except instead of holographic Charizard, you get time travel and emotional damage. But why were so few copies sold compared to Nintendo's big hitters? Well, it released late in the SNES life cycle. People were already saving up for the Nintendo 64. Second, RPGs in the mid-90s weren't really mainstream yet. Most kids wanted platformers, shooters, or games where you could jump on turtles. I mean, I was one of them. Back then, I was playing Super Tecmo Bowl, NBA Jam, Street Fighter 2. We weren't interested in 30-hour story-driven adventures about time paradoxes and ancient gods. With me being 50 now, yes, I am totally interested in that. So Chrono Trigger quietly launched. It did okay, and then exploded in popularity years later, which leads to the next reason. Chrono Trigger isn't just rare. It's legendary. A lot of people consider it the greatest RPG of all time. And it wasn't made by some random developer. This game was built by the so-called Dream Team. You had Final Fantasy creators, Dragon Quest creators. You had Dragon Ball artist Akira Toriyama. I mean, seriously. Basically the Avengers of 90s Japanese game development. And the game still holds up because of multiple endings, time travel mechanics, an amazing soundtrack, and an emotional story. Even today, modern RPGs still copy Chrono Trigger's ideas. And I guess they're not really copying Chrono Trigger's ideas. The Chrono Trigger kind of copied Final Fantasy's idea. But still, it means new players keep discovering it, and collectors keep wanting original copies, and demand keeps rising. Supply doesn't magically increase. Capitalism. It says, hello, price spike. Chrono Trigger also has a huge resurgence in popularity over the years thanks to YouTube. Yes, I am thanking YouTube. There are top 10 RPG lists, YouTube retrospectives, speedrunning community, streamers. There was also remasters on the DS, mobile, and Steam, which really fell flat because, I don't know, we live in the future now and it just seems that no one can do anything correctly. Every new version reminds people, oh yeah, that game was amazing. And what do collectors do? We don't buy the mobile version. We hunt down the original SNES cartridge because nostalgia is powerful and adult money is dangerous. I am 50 years old. My wife doesn't play a lot of video games. She plays Stardew Valley and she has a love for Chrono Trigger. Her knowledge on Chrono Trigger rivals my knowledge of Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and that's saying something. So yeah, I spent about $278 on Chrono Trigger for her, and I was happy to do it. I had been looking for this for 3 years and finally found it at the Record Exchange, of all places. And since we're talking about numbers, here's what Chrono Trigger is going for right now. And it roughly depends on condition. The one I got, the one you see, it's in very decent condition. It plays. There's no box though, or instruction manual, but loose cartridges usually fall between $200 and $350. And that's just the cartridge. No box, no manual, just nostalgia and a love of playing the game. Now, if you want one that's complete in the box, CIB, now we're talking pain. CIB copies regularly sell for between $800 and $1,500 plus. And what happens if it's super clean? Yeah, that's a mortgage. You're paying your mortgage. But here is where reality just breaks down. If you find a factory sealed Chrono Trigger Super Nintendo copy, which is almost impossible, they have sold for between $20,000 and $30,000. You heard me, $20,000 and $30,000. I was gonna say, hey, that's a used car. That's a brand new car. You can get a new car for 30 grand. But no, you're buying a game. And if you come away with anything from this, remember when you were little and your parents were like, oh, those video games are a waste of money. They'll never be worth anything. Chrono Trigger said, hold my time portal. In the future, I'm gonna be worth 30 grand. Factory sealed, and at the least $278. So you might be wondering, well, there are other RPGs that are just as good. What about Final Fantasy VI? Earthbound, which is a totally forgotten RPG that's just great, or Secret of Mana. They're great games. But Chrono Trigger wins because it has lower North American supply, higher universal reputation. You don't hear a lot of people talking about Final Fantasy VI. There are some that talk about Earthbound and Secret of Mana, but Chrono Trigger is the one thing that sets everyone off. It's consistent in top-tier rankings. And there's also an insane collector demand. Don't get me wrong, Earthbound is very expensive too. I would love to have a copy of it, but no, I can't. Can't do it. I want it though. If you'd like to mail me Earthbound, no, I'm not going to give you my address. But Chrono Trigger is considered elite tier collectible status. It's the Starry Night of Super Nintendo RPGs. So my final thoughts. Why Chrono Trigger is so expensive. The growing nostalgia demand. There are no physical reprints. People have begged Nintendo, remake this, put it on the Switch. And it's almost like Nintendo ignores us. They're like, oh, you want another Pokemon game? Hold on. And it has a legendary RPG reputation. It's rare, it's iconic, and everyone wants one. Well, collectors and older people like myself, which means the prices aren't dropping anytime soon. If anything, they're only going to go forward in time. I know, I did 3 time travel jokes. That's my limit. I'm cut off now. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into Chrono Trigger and the insanity that it brings, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, would you pay $300 for a Chrono Trigger cartridge? I say yes, because I did. Or would you just emulate it and pretend you own it emotionally? That's cheating, by the way. I wrote in my script no judgment, but yeah, I'm judging. I don't care. All right, bye.